Hello, everybody, and welcome to the JRPG Book Club podcast. This is the magazine rack where we talk game news. And today we are live streaming, recording
No, we're
video.
not. We are recording video.
Recording video.
Recording video.
So you can watch this
See,
while
the
we
worst part
talk.
is we can't hide our laughter anymore. I can't just mute myself. You're gonna see me laugh.
Yeah, this is it. So yeah, we're doing something a little different. We're recording video. It's been something we've been talking about on and off for a while, but I think I just upgraded my computer, so we're able to do it and make it more of a reality. So you get to see real what actually happens with us. We'll see if it's good. And yeah, let's dig right in. What have you guys been up to?
Oh man! So they had just released a patch for Ratchet and Clank, the movie, the game.
Oh, that was a
and
thing.
yeah, yeah, it was a remake of the first game, and I would say a lesser. It wasn't very good story wise. They took out a lot of really cool character development moments,
That's about what I've heard.
which would have been great for film. I don't know why they took it out.
I mean, there's the keeping it to movie length kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's like an expanded edition probably where it has a lot of that stuff you're probably referring to.
Or at least it was planned out, maybe storyboarded.
Yeah.
No, they took out chunks of, there's this whole thing where Ratchet goes to Quark's home base and convinces him that he can change, that he can be better. Like, that would have been great for the movie. Instead, they just have a moment in the movie where Quark just no, I'm gonna be he pulls a Darth Vader and just I'm gonna attack the main bad guy and kill and get rid of him and save the hero. Like, he does that. There's a whole bit where Ratchet and Clank have a fight and they stop being friends and they're separated.
Yeah.
Because they don't know each other. They're just like, man, you really are getting on my nerves. And then they're like, fine, I'll see you later. I'll figure out my
you,
way
man.
home. Screw you. And then they realize oh, this is actually, I shouldn't have acted that way. And they have a really good moment where they apologize and become friends again. It was really cool. Ratchet grows up in the original. He's kind of cocky. Yeah. That whole 90s cool
era,
Sonic type stuff.
Okay.
He had that attitude.
Quick aside. It has been as long as kids in the 90s, kids us referring to the 90s is the same thing as kids when we were born referring to the 60s.
Yeah.
Think about that. When I heard that earlier today, that melted my brain.
Something
back in my day.
Right. That's where we're at.
Yeah. Something that kills me is that Super Mario, when you think 20 years ago, you think of I don't know, Super Mario World, and someone pointed out hey, it's Super Mario Sunshine's 20th, and it's oh my god.
No.
The GameCube's older than 20, which is kills me, slaughters me. I'm so mad.
But so anyway, I've been playing the Ratchet and Clank game, and I just blazed through it because it's really fun and it looks really pretty, and it made me super excited for this Rift in Time. Ratchet and Clank that's coming out in June, I believe.
Yeah.
But I blazed through it, and so I was I need something else to play. And aside from the game that we're playing for the podcast, I jumped on to the Doom Eternal DLC, and it is so much fun, and it's kicking my butt. So
nice.
It's good. But I did mention in the last episode, it adds a little interesting thing to the HUD, where on your reticle in the center of the screen, it does add a symbol for your grenades, your rage punch or whatever, and how much oil you have for your chainsaw. Little tiny symbols with little dots, and it's really non-intrusive, and they're kind of they kind of fade after a little bit, and it's really nice, and it's actually really helpful to realize I don't have to look at the bottom left of the screen. I can still focus on the action and where I need to shoot and where the enemies are, and still know how much ammunition I have for this specific item. It was really nice. I really liked it.
Yeah, it sounds like they did just a really good job with that. Just very intuitive, very clean.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah,
need to
I'm
jump
liking
into
it.
at some point. Maybe.
Yeah,
It's good.
it's been just like the longest since I played a Doom game at all. I should
Right.
really probably hop on the newest one because you know
I
I've heard only good things about it. Really,
I think the last Doom game I played was the original one, like on some random system that I hacked back in the day.
You can
yeah,
play
I
the
think
Make a
original
run
one.
Doom.
You can play the original one in Doom
Yeah, I've heard.
with this
Really?
new engine
Oh, that's
if
funny.
you want. So
Oh man. Is that it for you, Jack?
that's what I've been playing.
What about you, Ty? What you got?
I've just been playing our podcast game, obviously, and then I
That's what
mentioned
happens when
last,
it's your favorite.
yeah, and I mentioned last time that I played Jackie Chan Fist of Fury
Forgot
with
about
a
this.
friend, and we met up
Uh,
again last weekend, and we ran no joke 60 games straight of Jackie Chan Fist of Fury. Because we were like, this is just so fun. And the rounds go by so fast because every hit does like infinite damage. And we were going through like the fan wiki and stuff.
You are
and,
some quality gamers right there.
yeah. But like, oh, it was so goofy. So I found my like main, who's I think Drunken Master. Yeah, Drunken Master Jackie Chan. And he's like horrendously broken in the game. It's so much fun to
Love
play.
it.
And we were like today was the first time that we were really experimenting with like the good characters because we were trying to play like some of the bad ones. And
I think
just
I would
how
exclusively
broken it
play
is.
bad ones.
Yeah,
That's usually
exactly.
my thing if I can help it.
Yeah, because we really found out just how gross some of the characters are. Like, Drunken Master Jackie Chan has this kick that it looks like so unassuming, but if you land it, it deals like 30% health, and like it's fast. Like it just
Wow.
comes out and looks like this really dumb little kick, and it just takes off 30%, and it combos into super, it combos into specials. It's like ridiculously broken.
It's hiding being a monster.
Yeah, and it's so
Oh yeah, he's
funny
just
that
drunk.
like yeah. Like it's just this dumb little move. Like number one, if you can find Jackie Chan Fist of Fury at an arcade or something, 100% play it. Like it is so fun. And now that I've like actually sat in the game and we've actually like run 60 sets of it, like it's so
That
so
sounds
bad,
great.
but
That sounds
it's
like
so
a
much
great
fun.
time.
Oh, it was. How about you, Bill?
I've been all over the place, man. I've basically been playing everything that's not our podcast game.
Shame.
Yeah, I know. I really want to finish Persona 5 Strikers. I started getting back on that. I finished like another. I'm probably, if I were to guess, probably like 3/4 of the way through. I think. Don't quote me on that because I have actual no reference. And I've been playing a bunch of Tekken 7 again.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mean I love Tekken, right? And so I, as you know, I have a Tekken 3 arcade cabinet. I'm finally taking the steps to try and sell that board, but I bought a Tekken Tag board, and I'm gonna switch that out because I love Tekken Tag. That's like Tekken Tag 2. I love probably a little bit more, but Tekken Tag, the first one, is also like amazing.
I mean, the original one just had such a good cast. You have like goofy characters like Gong
Look,
in it.
all I care about is playing my Wang. Because all it does is go, ha! And like, see, you can see me doing it now. I could like swipe and people can see me.
I don't think...
If you're just listening to the podcast, sorry.
Yeah. Obviously watch the video.
Or don't, do whatever you want. But all I'm doing is just like a swiping motion. It's wax on type move.
I don't think the cab has it, but I remember I think the disc release has volleyball or something. Or
Yeah,
like
that sounds
Tekken
right.
Ball.
It's something like that.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a side tournament for it at Combo Breaker like years back, and because
Awesome.
I remember a friend of mine entered it and he like went 0-2 and was mad about it.
The saltiest thing you can be upset about is losing at Tekken Ball.
Man, I lost a Tekken Ball.
Yeah,
Right?
like that was the one he was mad about. Like he did okay in some other games, but he was like pissed that he lost.
That was my game.
Yeah. It's like I played that for hours. I'm like, bro, it's Tekken Ball. Who
Right.
cares?
Look, at least I'm finally upgrading. If you know anybody who wants to buy a Tekken 3 cab board, PCB, please send them my way. But I'm excited for that. That should be in a month or two. It's coming from Asia, so it'll be a little bit before it gets here. But I'm super excited. I've been wanting to upgrade the board for forever. We got to swap out some buttons and stuff because there's like the tag button and stuff, but I'm excited. I think those are the big ones. I've been playing PSO2 still. Nothing too crazy. Like I said, just trying to not play Tactics Advanced. Well, it's again,
Bite the bullet, man.
well, the thing is, like I told you before, is with tactics games, I have to be in the mood for it. If I'm in the mood for it, I jam them for hours. I could play for 10 plus hours and just whatever, I'm fine. Yeah. But if I'm not into it, it's just like the most grueling thing ever. And I think I'm slowly becoming more and more like that for other stuff too. So it's a problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's about it for me though, I think.
Well, if I remember correctly, I don't know how it's going to work with video, but now it's time for an ad.
Ads!
For the podcast people. I don't, like, are we doing that for the video too? Are we throwing an anchor onto the screen?
I think there's just going to be a, like, star wipe. We're gonna put in a really bad star wipe.
Yeah.
And, because star wipes are the best thing, right? It's the best possible outcome is a star wipe. So, insert star wipe here.
Them some good ads.
Yeah, it was an ad, all right. And
if you're doing the video, you might have not had an ad. Awesome.
Yeah, we'll see. But I'm gonna start things off with Ty's Fighting Game Corner again, of course. But first, I'm gonna start it on a somber note. Have a moment of silence.
I'm ruining this.
Guilty Gear Strive was supposed to come out today.
Rip.
No.
Before it got delayed. Yeah, today was going to be the day that pre-orders players were allowed to play.
Gotcha.
And then it was going to be Friday was the official release. But yeah, we almost had it. It was almost right in front of us.
Oh man.
Rip.
I've been texting friends all day like, I'm so sorry.
Pour one out for the boys.
Yeah, pouring one out for the boys. But we did get some news today, which is really cool. So after the previous beta, they actually sent out a survey asking how we felt about it, like what did we like, what didn't we like, what characters did we play, etc. And we got the full results of that. Found out that Ramlethal, like far and beyond, was the most popular character.
I totally know who that is.
Yeah, I'm sure you totally do. But
we
found out that Ramlethal was the most popular character. People think that the damage is way too high, and they think that jumping is very good right now. And the development team was like, okay, we hear you. We're gonna keep damage high because it's Guilty Gear, and they gave us a really good response to it. It was kind of good to get some like dev insight as to like kind of what we said about it all.
Right.
And also just seeing the region differences, like different regions play different characters.
And
like
seeing
North America really like North America really liked the new character Giovanna and played a lot of Giovanna, but Japan was playing Ramlethal. I think it was Europe was playing Soul. Like we got to see like the differences in characters, which is super cool per region.
Neat.
And then they announced that there's going to be another beta, a second beta. I think this is like technically their third beta.
Okay.
It's a beta. It's going to be the second public beta. There we go. Second public.
Words.
We don't have a date. It's going to be late April, early May, probably, knowing the release window.
Right.
And it's going to have every character. It's going to have improved lobbies, slightly improved internet or netcode, because the netcode was already amazing. And then
you're already amazing.
Stop. Thanks, Bill. I really needed that today.
I got you, baby.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Like, we only had the last public beta for like 3 days, and people loved it, and it was tons of fun. So to get it again before the game releases, could have been today, but
could have, but isn't.
Sad.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
When was the release date? They moved it to the summer, right? Is that what it was?
June 11th. It got back 2 months.
Okay.
Shoot.
That's right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's why people were mad, because they're like, you even skipped May.
Right.
Like, just 2 months. And,
all right. Look, if
at least
if they're fixing it, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. And I'm excited to see how the online lobbies do when we get the next beta, because that was the main complaint that everybody had, was the online lobbies sucked.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how drastically it changed it, right?
Yeah.
So.
yeah, we'll definitely see. Like, because people weren't happy with like any part of it, so we'll see if they change the presentation or just how it works, or
That makes sense. Yeah.
we'll see. I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
And then for the last little bit of fighting game news, Capcom had a presentation today about Street Fighter V. They showed off Rose, Dan, or not Dan. They showed off Rose, Oro, and a little bit of Akira, who's like kind of a guest character. It was cute. It was fun. There wasn't much else to it. I think they're doing a crossover with the musician Zed, and they're doing like a clothing line with him.
Okay.
That's
Gotcha.
cool. Like,
That's
it's
neat.
cute.
I like when companies do like good clothes. Like, it's not just a t-shirt, it's like geek chic kind of stuff. I like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, because they're doing like just 2 cute like shirt, or they're doing I think 3 cute shirts. There's Zed in the Street Fighter font. There's one of Blanca, and it's like glow in the dark, and then one of Ryu, but the glove is textured, I think.
That's kind of cool.
For some reason, I don't know. I don't get that one, but you know, it was fun to see an announcement, and it was cool to actually like see the characters that they've been working on for the last 6 months.
Right.
Other than that, there wasn't much there. But to get back into it.
Oh no.
But yeah.
I didn't change out your Twitter handle.
Oh, of course. Oh well.
Hold on, before we jump back in, because we can cut this part too. I'll switch it and see if anyone notices. Because I'm classy.
I mean, technically they mean the same thing, but
Magical girl tie, right?
yeah, magical girl tie.
That's what I thought it was when you sent that. I'm like, okay.
Magical girl tie?
Yeah, magical girl tie. It was I made it in college because I was super obsessed with Madoka at the time. And
At the time.
I was in the game department. If you're still recording, you could actually have this as like a little TikTok bit. But in the game department, like pretending, or not even anything girlish, was like shut down and like gross and weird because it was a bunch of angry gamer bros. So I always jokingly called myself like magical girl tie. I'm like, magical girls are the best. Like, it's the like, come on, bro. And I always tried to play like, whenever they played fighting games, I played like the most feminine character just to fuck with them, and it worked.
Nice.
Like, they usually got pissed at me.
I know plenty
I don't
of guys
like
who
females.
grew up watching Sailor Moon.
Exactly. That was
Like
like my
including
point.
myself. Like, yeah.
Look, who doesn't like going Sailor Moon?
Yeah, like my point was like Sailor Moon's fucking awesome. Like,
I mean, I never got into
I
it, but it's still like, I get the hype, you know?
Yeah. But I'm just kind of happy to see what they've been working on. I don't have the most interest in Street Fighter V anymore, but it's still cool to see, like, you know, characters that I like come back. You know, maybe I'll just give them a shot.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
heard that Dan's actually going to be pretty good this time around.
Yeah,
He was
Dan's
always
actually
good.
super solid. He has an infinite, which is hilarious.
Really?
And I
no.
don't think they're planning on patching it because it's very hard to do, and it's not.
That,
You know,
that's a
it's
Nick
Dan.
thing. Yeah.
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 Because
Our buddy
Nick-
Nick will absolutely
Dan is his
play
boy.
Dan.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
now he's got an
I don't
infinite? All right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah,
Good
what
stuff.
else is on the docket today?
The docket. Jack's got a couple
Docket.
things.
So, speaking of feeling old,
Mhm.
here's some news about a project that is 17 years in the making. Back in
Why isn't this
2002, when
popping up?
Metroid Prime came out, some guys were like, "This is really cool. We should turn this into a 2D Metroid game."
Oh, Chris.
So they started to
That's the one.
create Metroid Prime 2D. And I remember following this way back when because I was super obsessed with Metroid Prime. Still
Dude,
am.
You're the one that I'm like, all right, Metroid news? Yeah. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not super into it's funny because, like, I bought Metroid Prime on GameCube, and I'm like, I'm just not into this. And Jack's like, what? This is great.
I'm obsessed with them.
You just,
I've
like, have to
played-
go
I've
around and
probably
scan
beaten all
stuff. It just
3
wasn't my
games.
thing.
You don't have to scan at all.
Yeah, but let's face it. You're going to get guilt tripped in the game or by other people if you don't.
Nah, it's okay. I actually just enjoy the scanning bit.
Yeah. No, it's
but-
cool. I get why people like it.
Yeah. I enjoy the exploration first person shooter aspect of it
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, like I love playing that game as a
Mhm.
kid.
So these guys have slowly been working on this game, and on April 1st, they made a post announcing that they decided to turn their Metroid Prime 2D into a 3D game and made it
Yo.
really dumb looking pictures. Like, we're going to do Metroid Prime 3D. And then they're like, actually, no, here's a demo of the game that we've been working on for
17 years.
Yeah.
So-
So that's super sick.
Well, it's all like what, like 1 or 2 guys probably, kind of thing.
A handful. I
Yeah.
don't know how many people are on the team anymore, but
I mean, small dev teams
Apparently-
are still small dev teams. Like,
right.
some of the games that like are well regarded in the indie community as like some of the best are labors of love that took them, a decade plus or sometimes
Yeah.
more. So
Yeah.
look at
And
Stardew.
I know that they haven't had a lot of updates for the past couple of years, but
Hmm.
according to one of the guys, he said that while they haven't been posting anything, they've done a lot of groundwork and stuff for this game.
Hmm.
And
That's great. It's not dead.
yeah, they're still making it, and it looks really good. Like the pixel art is incredible.
Right.
Although I think we know why they haven't been posting about it too
Yeah.
much.
There was that
the
Metroid
Nintendo
Prime
C and
2
Ds.
or Metroid 2 remake.
Yeah. I remember
Another
that. That was
Metroid
cool.
2 remake.
You
Oh,
showed me
one
that. That was
sec.
neat.
I'm getting handed something. Oh, it's the C and D already.
Oh.
Dun dun dun. I hate you so much.
Oh no! But Nintendo, it's not us. We're not making it.
Yeah.
Nintendo.
We'll see.
But yeah, it's getting a lot of coverage, including on here. But it's really cool, and they've been working on it a long time. They'll probably get a cease and desist, but they haven't.
I'm
recently,
surprised,
so-
like, if they've been
and there's
working on
been
it
a
this
lot
long.
of Metroid games that have fan projects that have come out that
Right.
have been fine. I'm pretty sure the Metroid 2 remake one was a special case because
They were making the
without-
new Metroid 2.
yeah, they were literally making the Metroid 2 remake on the 3DS,
Yeah.
and they didn't want anyone to
Which
know,
Right.
which makes total sense.
Yeah, which was really just like a hilarious
Yeah.
coincidence.
Right.
Very unfortunate coincidence. And personally,
Yeah, because I still
go
remember.
ahead.
Oh, sorry. Oh, I was gonna say I still remember people on Twitter like they just took the idea, they just remade it themselves. It's like no, they've probably been working on that for a couple of years.
Game dev
Yeah.
takes a long time. That's what it is.
Yeah,
And honestly, I did not like that one, the Nintendo
actual remake,
3D,
yeah.
the 3DS one. I
remember-
really disliked it.
Mm.
I remember you telling me that. You're like, this one was so cool, and they did this one, and it's way worse, and all this stuff.
The fan project one was so much
Mm.
better in so many ways, and
Look, man,
this
they-
remake was from Nintendo was just so bad.
More people need to do the
Very
Sonic
disruptive.
Mania thing. Like, where they hire the team of people who actually care about. They're the ones doing the remakes, where they actually put, like, time, love, and care into it, Like,
Well, I'm
Yeah.
also in the minority. Apparently, a lot of people liked the remake,
oh, really?
but I thought it was so
Mm.
bad.
Well,
I
is it
never
bad
got
because
it,
you're
but-
comparing it to the other one?
No, I didn't enjoy it at all.
Hmm.
Like, I'll get hit by a
Yeah.
bug, and I'll get an entire energy tank taken out. I'm like, that has never
Wow.
been a thing in the Metroid games.
We'll see how the new Metroid Prime 4
I,
goes.
It's got Retro
We'll see.
Studios
But
back
yeah, I
on it,
remember-
so we'll see.
Right.
yeah. I remember seeing some pretty good reviews for the 3DS one. I think it like averaged like an 8 out of
Yeah.
10. I know
Yeah, I
a
heard
friend of
pretty good
mine
stuff, too.
was gushing about it. But
Yeah, like I said, I'm in a minority, but I'm
Mhm.
also a huge fan, and I hated it. So I don't know what that tells anyone, but
Yeah, that's fair.
Hmm.
And then you also had something else. Too,
oh
Jack?
man, so check this out.
I was gonna say talking about Metroid.
The
And,
other side of the
Metroid.
The
Vania,
Vania.
Castlevania had a canceled game called Castlevania Resurrection that was supposed to come out for the Dreamcast. It was going to feature Sonia Belmont as well as a new character, Victor Belmont.
Ooh.
I think Victor Belmont showed up later in Castlevania Legends on the Game Boy.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
this was going to be his first introduction. But I guess there was some sort of problem going on with Konami.
There's always a problem
And-
going on with Konami, I feel like.
Right. Yeah. So
Having played Yu-Gi-Oh!
not surprised.
Oh, yeah.
And there has been a prototype from predating E3 1999 of
Ooh, boy.
Castlevania Resurrection.
Yikes.
And so it's not fully playable, a fully realized game. It's just a demo still. There's a lot of things that still need work from the gameplay footage we've seen.
Right.
Looks pretty neat, but yeah, I just thought that was really cool. It's one of those 3D adventure games like the 64 ones. Perhaps would have been better on the Dreamcast. I don't know.
I would hope so. Like
Probably.
the 64 one is such a disappointment to me.
There's two of them.
I always forget that. Yeah.
And they're both
There's the one everybody
great.
knows really well, and then there's the
Yeah.
other one that's also bad.
Yeah.
I don't know what's worse.
I'm watching the demo gameplay right now, and it looks smooth. Like that's the thing that's surprising me about it is it looks, it looks clean.
Maybe they ran out of Castlevania money.
Yeah, like I'm not too well. The thing is, this happens a lot in the industry where, like, they really start working out a project, they get like a good chunk, they even get the first demo, and then it just falls apart.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually kind of upset. Like, this actually looks dope as hell.
Yeah. I don't know. I like I like the 2D Castlevanias, but I never really got sold on them. There's the infamous bird clock.
There it
Hello,
is.
everybody. Hello,
Hi,
world.
Eric.
Hi, Jack and Eric.
Oh hey.
All right.
Hey,
All right.
future me.
Well, go back a spell for that, Ty, real quick. Oh wait, talk real quick. Okay, you're out of sync for a second. Now you're back in. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. I was just saying, like, this happens a lot. Like, a game gets pretty far in development, or at least far enough to get a demo, and it just kind of falls apart, which really sucks. Like looking at this, it looks like a Dreamcast game. It really looks like a Sonic Adventure.
It's got that feel.
And, yeah, but the thing is, it was in that kind of perfect, like, niche, like, Dreamcast era where we really started getting like these really like intricate and cool games.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think it would have been actually like fun as hell, but
right.
Yeah.
C'est la vie.
Maybe if the demo becomes
been.
available.
Oh,
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, people are gonna try and get it happen. Castlevania is a big enough fan base.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you guys play any of the 3D Castlevanias? Was it Lords of Shadow or whatever it was called? The newer ones.
No,
Newish
I
ones?
heard they were bad, but I also heard the twist of.
I know a lot of
the
people really
last
liked them
one.
though. Like, I had several friends who really liked them.
Isn't the twist of the last one that like you're
Spoilers.
that the Belmonts are actually Dracula or something?
Spoilers. No, you are Dracula.
Oh, how's that? Okay.
And then I think the last game was you, Dracula, and then you got to do a lot of cool stuff. So like that's a really cool twist.
Yeah.
I really like that idea.
No, it's fun, man. I like when they do the spin on it.
Yeah. That and, like, playing Alucard in that one Castlevania game was amazing. Like, it was sick as hell.
Just,
He was really
let me play Castlevania Symphony of the Night again. That's all I need. I don't need to play any other Castlevania game ever. Just give me Symphony of the Night and I'm happy.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. Is that it for that one?
That's it.
Sweet. So our final story of the night is that's not coming up, of course. We are talking E3. We got some E3 news. We are for years, me and Jack have like gotten together and watched like all of E3 or all the events around E3. Like, that's our season.
Good.
I used to call off of work for a week just to watch all the E3 stuff, both me and Ty have been to E3. Like, it's a big part, I know a lot of people, it's a big part of their, gaming culture, whether if you've been there a long time ago or just recently, or you just watch the live streams or whatever, like, it's a huge, like, point that like has been a thing for such a long time. In recent years, we've discussed this before a little bit, recent years has become less important. Like, there's other ways to go about delivering the information that they give to people, right?
Yeah.
Nevertheless, it's still like, I love that time of year where we just get together and watch the streams of stuff happening. If you're watching the video or not, I've got footage from E3 95 up on the screen. It's crunchy. I love it. But you know, we weren't sure because we know last year E3 didn't happen. And a bunch of other events kind of took its place. Summer Game Fest from Jeff Keighley and a couple other ones. But it's back this year. It's finally happening again. I guess finally is a bit of a extreme word for it, but it's back this year. The companies that are with it are Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Konami, Ubisoft, Take-Two Interactives, Warner Brother, and Coach Media, I think it's pronounced. Some big names that aren't in it is Sony, which was expected, right? EA. So I would assume EA is going to do EA Play. They've been doing it for years. Like that's their thing, right? Sony will have their state of play type thing. I'm sure they do that. Nintendo does their directs. Like it, the thing is like Nintendo's part of it, but not really. Like that's the way it's been the last couple of years. Like even the year that me and Ty had went, because we actually went the same year, which is funny, but we didn't know each other yet.
Yeah, and it was like it was literally just a couple months before we met too, which is funny.
Yeah, it's great. And like it's one of those things where Nintendo already wasn't doing their like live streams live. It was a Nintendo Direct, and they just had booths. And since it's all online this year, like what does it mean that you're there? You're just going to be part of the live stream schedules, you know? So that's the big thing. You know, me and another friend of mine have been talking for a while that it's going to be in the next probably 2 to 5 years, we're probably not going to have an actual E3 anymore. It seems like they've been switching into a more just like a basic convention with announcements, and I would assume it's going to continue to be that way. But you know, we'll see. I think we're going to have it for a couple of years more, but we'll see. My big question is, you know, is Namco Bandai going to be part of it? Is Atlas going to be part of it? Those are the companies that I care about because they're JRPG heavy. We know Tales of Arise is supposed to have more news this summer. I expect it to be part of E3. It could be part of like something like New Games Plus or Summer Game Fest. We'll see like what the bidding war for these, like not like big streaming events, but like the same kind of deal, right? Like last year we had what was it, IGN, that was kind of like doing a large chunk of the live streams. Much to my dismay.
Everyone's dismay. Oh
I know it's rough. But you know, we got that stuff. Like it was funny because every time any news would come on from it, all of us would just like try and mute the mic when it was just them talking, or like go to the actual source, right? So we didn't have to listen to the IGN talk because it's just so annoying. I hate it. It's they're talking, but they're not talking their actual opinions. They're talking what they're paid to say.
Talking, but they're not talking.
Yeah, it's all non-content. Which like non-content's fine, but like don't claim to be like news. You know, it's not news if I can go on to the same place that you get your stuff from and verify it the exact same way you do. You're not having an exclusive with them or whatever. That's not news. You know? Like we're an opinion podcast more than anything, right? So like it's the same thing. You're just, you know, you're not any more special than anybody else. You just have a bigger platform.
Yeah, it feels like they can't have an opinion. They have to be positive about everything. They can't be like, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Or at best, it's like, it's not my thing.
Yeah. Or they just have to like just explain what happened. Like that was a big thing that I always saw, especially with like IGN stuff. Is it's just like, oh yeah, then this happened, then this happened. Like especially reading even the write-ups on like announcements. It's like this happens, then this happens, then this happens in the trailer. And it's like I could just watch the trailer.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like just the world itself is a really weird place for like news and stuff.
Yeah.
Because of stuff like that. Like we're all connected through our smartphones and stuff like that. Like what is the place for the news? Like what is the real? I feel like, you know, you have stuff like Twitter and stuff like that, but some people will be like, oh yeah, the Twitter news isn't real news and stuff like that. It's like, well, what is? Like for me, you know, news and stuff is something that's coming from the source, right? Or has like cited work. Like or it's an interview with somebody who's doing the creative, right? So like, oh, I'm in talks with Horinobu Sakaguchi, right? And we're talking about his new game, right? And that's news because you're having an interview. Like it's an exclusive news source, right? Yeah. I can cite it back to here because it's coming from the source.
Mm.
But everybody will just say like, well, there's a rumor floating around, and like that's how so much stuff gets populated nowadays. It's just like, cool, but where's your facts check?
Yeah.
Like that was one of the big things I learned about, and probably Jack too, because we went to the same school, was when you write a term paper, right? It's all about citing your work, right? It is the cornerstone of news and everything else. Like if I get my news from a doctor, they better cite their work, because I'm not going to trust them as much. Like, it's great you're a doctor, but there's a lot of people who call themselves doctors. A chiropractor is a doctor,
Too many people out there being like, do your own research.
Right. Well, okay. But where did you get yours from so I can prove you wrong?
Right.
Like, it's a two-way street.
To believe you, then show us your research as well. Like,
yeah, you got to be credible.
Seriously.
But, E3, I got on a major tangent. But, E3 is in a weird place that I think, in the next couple of years, maybe we'll have another event that just is the new E3 that's, different. I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think much more of these companies it makes more sense for them to just do an online thing. It's way less overhead. They don't have to do in-person giant thing. As much as I love the in-person giant things, like, don't take me wrong, I love that stuff. When we went to E3 and you were walking New Donk City, that was one of the coolest things ever. Like,
it was so nice. Yeah,
they had little secrets, like you'd like ring a doorbell and like lights would flicker and like make noises and everything. It's like, so well done. It was one of the highest quality like design things I've seen, and I've been doing events for a decade.
And something else I really want, like, I don't know. I think the physical E3 is important still. Like, obviously, we have kind of this, coverage and whatever.
Well, the thing is, it's an event. Like, that's the thing.
Because, like, another thing about E3, and this is also true with my experience at GDC, is that you run into all these indie developers and these people who get to like kind of attach onto like the Xbox presentation or something, or like seeing Cuphead and like the developers of Cuphead kind of around.
I think that the thing is though is now you have stuff like Day of the Devs, and they cover all the indie stuff. Like there's so many more platforms than there used to be for it that are indie centric, and that's I like look, the stuff that I write on our blog is indie insights. Like it's very important to have platforms for indie games, right? But a lot of those ones get associated with small mid-tier companies, right? There's Annapurna, there's whatever else, right? There's a ton of them, and then all the others. There's stuff that falls through the cracks. Don't get me wrong, like there's always that kind of stuff, but I don't think E3 is generally the platform for that, like because the booths are super expensive. Everything else, like 9 times out of 10, you're not going to do it. There are some cool deck demos and stuff. Like when we went, there was some really, really cool stuff that I got to experience. That's like now actual, like practical, like use tech that we see in like regular stuff. And it's so cool to have seen that early. Be like, oh, that's being utilized now. But it's become like just a fancy gaming con kind of thing. I feel like.
Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about it yet. We'll see as the whole thing goes down, right?
Yeah. When the pandemic really starts kind of wearing off and we can, actually hold conventions again, like it is rough because like
they lost two of the big boys, and this year they lost EA, right? Like, who knows if they're going to do what they were doing before with EA Play? Like, they could change that up, and maybe they're like, oh yeah, we're going to partner with another company or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
I just hate to see the physical go, like I understand the need not to, and like I'm not saying like embrace tradition, but like
I don't think it's going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go anywhere, but I think it's going to
shrink.
Its place in the industry is going to be greatly reduced in the next 2 to 5 years at the very least.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, that's the big question, right? We'll see. Day of the Devs, if you people aren't watching, that's such a great resource. It's being done with I think it's like I'm 8-bit and a bunch of other companies, and it's through Summer Game Fest if I remember correctly. And it's such a great platform for indie people. I'm 8-bit and all these other companies, like they can really help you put production through on some of these games, because like they did a post the other day where they're like, well, why don't you just focus on these bigger companies and stuff like that, right? They're like, we want to support everybody. Like, getting some of these indie games, like getting their stuff onto physical media, you know, may it be music, may it be the actual games, maybe whatever, right? That's a dream. Like if you're an indie dev, like that's a huge deal, you know?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And there's some games where people are like, what is that? Or whatever. Like, you know, you have those, you have limited run games, stuff like that. That's like one of the only platforms a lot of these guys have. And they do such a good job. They do such a, you know, attention to detail. And it's such a cool thing, man. You know, I don't want physical to go anywhere. I don't think it is, but I think it's one of those things where you have these companies and these people like aiming to preserve. And that's such a, you know, it's such a cool thing to see that, you know, the community is really behind it.
Yeah.
I think that just about does it for this episode, right, guys?
Yeah, I got nothing else.
Not much else. Nothing big, really.
Yeah, it's been a slow like last 2 weeks news wise. Like there's been a bit here and there, but nothing too crazy.
Watch us like end, and then literally like the next day there's gonna be huge news.
That's
'cause that
always what
every
happens.
time.
Every single time.
They just announced the Switch Pro tomorrow.
Right? Switch Pro
No.
with Persona 5 Royal port.
That's what they're waiting for. Is the Switch Pro, so they have Royal on there.
Final Fantasy 16 gets a release date tomorrow.
Well, I guess we're recording again, and I'm gonna be super tired. Yeah, I think that just about does it for us this time. You know, there's a lot of stuff that always drops after we record. That's just the nature of news, right? But you know, we do what we can. You know, we produce as much as we can. I think we're doing a decent job for just doing it ourselves, right? Like, I've had to learn so much to like get this stuff going between like certain like just design mechanics or other stuff like that. To those who are new to us, if you're finding us on YouTube now as a new platform for us, or if you're just a regular listener to us, you know, we have we now have the opposite, right? We have audio on almost every platform that you can listen to podcasts on. We're about to start doing YouTube videos like this, / audio, which is what you're listening to if you're on those other platforms. I'm good at words. It's fine. And we also have a blog that we try to update once a week. It's been 2 weeks, I think, but we have a new episode dropping today, right, guys?
Yep, already released.
Oh, sweet.
It's up on the website. It's nice and fresh.
Sweet.
JRPGbookclub.com. I put a lot of work into it. Please go.
Yeah, do it.
Please visit the website.
It's wonderful.
I want to see you on Google Analytics.
But yeah, so we're multifaceted. We're trying our best to do our thing. Otherwise, that's been it for the JRPG Book Club podcast today. This has been Bill.
This was Ty.
And I'm Jack, and that was the magazine rack.
And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
See ya.
Bye.